Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is What If Naruto Was a Saiyan? The Warrior Who Found Love in Another World Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. Summary of Naruto's life. Begins with two pods, each containing a babies, twins, Kakarot and Sub, being sent to their respective planets, but the twin brother of Goku lands on the elemental nations in a Saiyan spaceship through a time displacement dimensional black hole that happens once in every 20 years while Goku at the same time landed on Earth. Minato seals the fox in Naruto, named that by Minato who found him, and dies later along with Kushina who died and their newly born child who died in the midst of the chaos. Minato leaves instructions on how Naruto is to be treated after the scene. 12 years later, Naruto becomes Genin and dead last of the class looking like Minato because the Kyuubi wanted to make Naruto suffer for what he had been through. Naruto enters Team 7 with Sakura and Sasuke and Kakashi. Kakashi pays more attention to him this time along with his other teammates, and one day during the training, he introduces Metagai to Naruto, who immediately took a liking to his fighting style and demanded to be taught in it. Guy accepts and trains Naruto while Kakashi teaches Sasuke and Sakura. Everything up to the Fourth Shinobi Wars in canon happens accordingly, with Naruto keeping a tight leash on his skills. Though Minato didn't declare himself as Naruto's father, and as an apology to the way he was treated, he left all his skill set available for Naruto to learn, including the Hiraishin before he faded, and Kushina just had a small talk with him before she faded as well, leaving some of her knowledge in Sealing Knot before thanking him for protecting the village. Naruto also learns Sage Mode, Chakra Gates, and everything he learned in canon, but he also learns a little bit of Kenjutsu, and Jiraiya teaches him Sealing Jutsu. Somewhere along the training, Naruto stumbles across his spaceship and sees a picture of a family of 5. 2 twin babies, an 8-year-old, a woman and a male that was backing the camera with a frown on his face, and at the back of the picture, he saw a name written on it, Sub and Kakarot. After a talk with the fox, he found out that the baby on the left with a more spiky hair was him, and he guessed that the other baby was his brother, meaning that this was a picture of him and his family, but he had no time to dwell on it as the war was in full swing. The Fourth Shinobi War reached its climax when the Jubi is freed and eliminates all available ninja except the main powerhouses, Naruto, Obito and Madara, leaving Madara complete control to the beast. Obito faced Naruto, who ended up beating him after a close fight, and after Naruto destroyed the Jubi with a Senjutsu-powered Bijudama with Madara unfortunately in the crossfire, Obito decided to do something about Naruto if he couldn't beat him, so he used an overpowered Kamui, sending Naruto into the outskirts of space just as the same black hole appeared again him to his original timeline. Now Naruto stands in Namek helping the Z Warriors face the threat of Frieza, who just entered his second transformation stage. Namek, during Goku's healing immediately after Ginyu Force's death. Splash. Asterisk. A figure fell to the large lake from the sky warped above it. Swimming to the surface of the water, the figure pulled himself off the lake and stood on it as if it were solid ground, and if one were to look closely at his feet, you could see a dim blue aura from the sole of the feet to the toes. The figure stood at an impressive 5 feet 6, wearing the normal uniform of the Konoha Anbu as a tribute to the village he was serving and as a testament to his actual ranking in the village he served. He didn't have the tattoo on his shoulder though, but from his figure you could tell that he was a fighter, and with the way it was lean, speed was one of his strong points. Behind the mask on the person was a head of spiky blonde hair. He reached with his right hand and pulled off the mask from his face before exhaling deeply from the constrictions the mask brought as he fell in the lake, and on each cheek of his face, you could see 3 whisker marks indicating his Jinchuriki status. Opening his sky-blue eyes, the figure did a good impression of masking his frustration in the entire situation, but if there was one thing that signified it, it was the scream later. "Damn you, Obito!" Looking for the closest rock to take out his frustration, He formed a spiral ball on his left hand that was the size of a soccer ball and appeared in a burst of speed in front of the innocent mountain in front of him. Odama Rasengan. He panted as the mountain in front of him was no more before falling down to his knees and screaming once more in anger and rage. Rog. He looked to be exhausted as he fell on his back looking at the clouds that passed by, but a voice in his head reminded him that he wasn't alone. Are you done? Closing his eyes, the blonde opened them a moment later, standing in a sewer-like area. He looked to see himself staring at an open cage with a big red-orange fox looking at him with a calm expression. Well, the blonde asked the fox with an annoyed expression. Well, what? I'm waiting for you to tell me that I'm a failure, that I couldn't save the entire shinobi race, and so on and so forth. The fox looked at him after the statement was made before forcefully sending the human out of his mindscape, causing him to blink rapidly before focusing his sights, noticing he was back on the outside. He got up with a sigh and scratched the back of his head and said, "Stupid fox." Wanting to have a feel of the area around him, the blonde sat down in a meditative pose and closed his eyes in concentration, remembering the lesson the elder toad taught him. Sage mode is the result of using natural energy along with a shinobi's normal chakra to drastically empower all of their abilities. For the toad style of sage mode, the gatherer must remain absolutely still in order to be one with nature. To master sage mode, one must remain still and gradually gather the natural energy around him. If you remain unfocused, then the result will be drastic. Well, he wasn't learning sage mode, he was just trying to get a feel of the flow of energies around here, and he found out that this place was filled with life energy, more than back home in fact, but then he noticed some foreign energies fighting, two seeming to be familiar to his own, with one of them being more familiar than the other, while the other three were more outlandish to him, one feeling like a native from this planet, he thought. One in a distance not far from him but far from the fight, and was having a bit of an adventure on her own from the frequent movements it was having and from the feel, he deducted it to be female. Deciding that it would be wise to confront that one first, he stood up and brought out a tri-pronged kunai and flicked it with an impressive show of strength towards the single life energy instead of the other five, and feeling the impact his kunai made with the surface, he disappeared in a red-orangish flash of light. With the fighters looking on in rage at the insubordination of one of his soldiers was the alien overlord, Frieza. Calming his rage as he craned his eyes on each of the insects below him, Frieza scratched his chin as he read the readings that were supposed to appear on the scouter, only to find none. No readings for the Ginyu Force, he said, so it's true. He chuckled as he looked at the scared faces of the fighters below him. Congratulations in destroying the most elite fighting team in the universe. My only regret is not being present when Ginyu died. I'm sure his expression would have been hilarious. He laughed at that, imagining the scene in his brain. Jumping from the edge of the large rock he was on, he landed on a smaller rock below him and started. Let's say we get this thing started. I'm sure you all want to resolve this dispute once and for all. He then floated from the rock and landed in front of the four sacred fighters and looked at the tallest one. I always knew that you would turn on me someday, Vegeta, but I never knew when. He said, now I see that you were waiting for the stakes to get higher before you played your hand, and for that, I commend you. After all, it just might have worked. What a pity. Frieza continued and then sighed before he started to walk towards the group, making them backpedal after each step he took. Well, I hope you've thoroughly enjoyed your little rebellion, because now it's over. Vegeta growled in defiance as Frieza was finishing his monologue, and now you die. Krillin, Dend, and Gohan flew away, but Vegeta stood his ground, smirking at Frieza arrogantly. It must hurt, right? Vegeta taunted Frieza. To have your one chance of immortality snatched away like that. Oh, and guess what, Frieza? I quit. That's right, let it all out. Frieza calmly said to Vegeta. Live boldly, even if it's for a few minutes, because it will be your last. Frieza said, and crossing his arms over his chest and gathered his energy with a scream. A blue aura started to appear around Frieza as the earth around him started to shake with gravels rising up. As he was building up his energy, Krillin, Gohan and Dende looked on in fear at the rise in power, and it was only the beginning. The planet begun to shake moments later, causing Dende to fall on his butt at the quake. Meanwhile, flying as fast as he can, the newly reanimated Piccolo was flying as fast he could to the danger, and he felt the energy build up. Whoa, that's one heck of a power increase, Piccolo thought. I can tell the action is definitely getting ready to start. Flying over some different plots of land ranging in sizes, Piccolo spotted a fading energy and his eyes glanced to the source, and he flew towards the direction. He landed next to the dying body and he noticed that it looked similar to him. Nail was grunting in pain after the attack from Frieza as he laid on the floor dying, thinking of how he failed Guru. However, hope blossomed in his chest as he felt the presence of a powerful Namekian flying his way before landing beside him. He looks like me, Piccolo pointed out as he observed the dying Namekian. Could be worse, I guess, but he has definitely seen better days. Yeah, you can say that again. What a drag, huh? Nail said as he was on the ground as Piccolo looked down at him. Oh, it's you, so the Earthlings got to make their wish, huh? Well, if you know me then you know that we're out of time, Piccolo said to Nail. I'm sure we've never met before, but I'm glad your beating sure hasn't made you lose your sense of humor. Nail painfully laughed as Piccolo pointed that out, but as he turned to leave with parting words, Nail called out to his retreating back. I can sense your great power, Nail said. I just don't think it's going to be enough. We'll see, Piccolo said as he turned around again. If only you had come back as your original self, you would have beaten Frieza for sure. What? Piccolo demanded. I fought him. I know how strong he is. So if I'd united with Kami, then I would have had the energy I needed to face him. Piccolo mused. I'm sure he's laughing so hard we can hear him all the way from Earth. Nobody wants you to win as much as Kami does, Nail painfully said. His survival depends on it. It's too late then. Even if it wasn't, I wouldn't want to unite with an old geezer. Piccolo said. We'll unite with me then, Nail offered. It's the only help we can get. Thinking hard, Piccolo was wondering how he got into this dilemma and thought if there was any alternative. Leftwards wave arrow. In the healing tube in one of the ships, Goku opened one eye as he was feeling the energy build up from Frieza and thought, what a whole lot of power, I've got to get better. He then thought back to the energy he felt before. Who was that just appeared, and why does he feel so familiar? Minutes later, snapping open his bright blue eyes, Naruto was feeling the energy build up as well. Feeling a weight on his chest, Naruto tilted his head to see a head of green head of head. Thinking back as to how this happened, he recalled coming to the aid of Bulma as she was running from creatures threatening to eat her. One thing led to another, and then they ended up having hot passionate before succumbed to the unconsciousness that followed. To Naruto, this was something he needed, as this helped take off the heavy weight on his shoulder and rejuvenate him, and he even got to have a pleasant conversation with Kurama after he was violently shoved out of his mind. Losing everybody he cared about caused him to feel a depression that he hadn't felt before. Then the rage he felt at Obito's laughing face was nearly drove him over the edge, and it was something Naruto was ashamed at, his reaction. He guessed he had to thank Bulma for that. He also found out what was happening here, and he guessed that the team needed his help, so he got up from the bed that they were both on. After taking a well-needed shower, Naruto got out of the bathroom to meet a sleeping Bulma who was still cuddling on the pillow he was previously lying on. Donning on his sage outfit with the red cloak, Naruto got to his scroll and unsealed it, revealing black shinobi fingerless gloves that Guy-sensei got him. He placed them on and remembered to poke a hole on the butt of his pants, making room for his tail he can now freely reveal, but unfortunately, the sage cloak covered it, so he wrapped it around his waist like a belt. Walking to the door of the house, Naruto heard a noise and turned to see Bulma waking up, rubbing her eyes. Where are you going? she asked, trying to get the sleep off her eyes, looking at her new friend, lover. To end this threat before it's too late. Naruto seriously said, looking at his one-time bedmate, referring to the feeling of power he felt and the amount of malice behind it. Yon, make sure you make it back to me, all right? Bulma said to Naruto before she got back to sleep, not waiting for a response. Naruto smiled and created a shadow clone and ordered it to guard her before he walked to the outside, feeling the breeze as it blew his face, and took a deep breath. He took a sprinting pose and mentally communicated, ready to kick some. You know it. And with the mental confirmation, Naruto dashed, with leaving a trail of gravel on the path he took before he brought out his tri-pronged kunai and threw it at the direction of the fight before disappearing in a red-orange flash. Minutes earlier, Frieza stood with his left palm pointing towards the Prince of all Saiyans. Vegeta stood in arrogance as Frieza was still gathering up his energy. You better get that smirk off your face, Vegeta, Frieza said before he fired a purple beam at the monkey. Vegeta disappeared and the beam passed through the area Vegeta was previously standing at, shattering the rock behind him. Appearing at another area, Vegeta disappeared immediately as he saw a beam heading his way, and as he had to appear in another area, he immediately disappeared again and again as the beams appeared hit the spot he was previously occupying. Krillin, Dende, and Gohan were taking shelter as Frieza continued demolishing the area, creating smoke that the three had to shield their eyes from, while Frieza was having fun at the destruction he was causing, not caring about the casualties around. Cough, Gohan. We have to attack Frieza while he's distracted, it's our only chance. Krillin said as he was coughing in his hand with Gohan. Right, Gohan said with a nod of his head. Frieza was still distracted and couldn't feel the energy of Krillin and Gohan as they snuck up on him. But he heard an attack being fired and turned around to catch both beams on his palm before firing one of his own at them, causing the two warriors to evade the attack. Frieza kept on his assault on the two, who kept dodging his attack, completely forgetting about Vegeta, who appeared and redirected the latest beam of attack away from the group, and Dende, who just ran towards Krillin and Gohan as they appeared near him. Vegeta stood with his clenched fist stretched, shaking and emitting threads of smoke from the latest redirection, while Frieza stood, amused at what he just saw. He's so strong. I don't think we can win, Krillin frightfully stated with his knees shaking. What are we gonna do? An equally frightened Gohan asked his friend. I don't know. Well, I do, Frieza answered. You can just stand still and watch as I kill each and every one of you one by one, and I assure you, it won't be pretty. Nonsense, Vegeta suddenly said. Our chances of winning are just as good as yours are. Oh, looky here. Vegeta suddenly grew a backbone that's about to break. Frieza said, chuckling at the end of that statement. That's right, laugh it up and make sure not to notice the change in each of us, because I'm sure that when or if you do, you would have noticed the increase in each of our power levels. Vegeta said to Frieza, who was curious, looking back at Vegeta with an eyebrow raised. Even the child you see over there, Vegeta continued as he glanced to Gohan, who was shocked at the declaration. He's nearly as strong as I was when I arrived their planet the first time, and that alone is shocking. But wait, there's more, Vegeta said, holding out his finger, and then he pointed at himself. I have become your worst nightmare, Frieza, the thing that caused you to destroy my planet and my people. That's right, I have become a Super Saiyan. Really? Frieza asked, not really surprised at the bluff Vegeta just made. Well then, let's see it. Let's see your incredible power that's bound to make me quiver in fear. As he said that, he took a step and rushed towards Vegeta with a yell before throwing a punch, which Vegeta deflected before he grabbed Frieza's arm, but Frieza didn't let that stop him as he threw another punch with his other fist only. Vegeta caught it again. Both started to build their energy as a blue aura started to appear around them. The other three watched in fear as the two titans started the fight. Vegeta was struggling to keep up with Frieza's power level while Frieza just kept on increasing his energy. Both energies were so potent They even created a crater below them with the ground below them shaking, creating mini quakes. The release of energy was so great that the scouter on Frieza's eye couldn't keep up and causing it to explode, surprising Frieza, who stopped the brief build-up they both were having before both flew out of the crater looking at each other on opposite ends. "Isn't that cute? Little Vegeta's all grown up." Frieza taunted the panting prince. "Before you know it, he'll surpass me." He laughed at that before he got serious. "Unfortunately for you, you won't live long enough for that to happen. Come on, transform Frieza, I know you can." Vegeta goaded in, hoping to test his limits. "We both know you want to." "Say what?" Krillin asked, shocked at this revelation. "Isn't that pushing it, Vegeta?" "Oh crap, he can transform." Gohan thought, as if that build-up wasn't enough. "I wonder how you found out that little secret." Frieza pondered. "You can thank your minion Zarbon for that," Vegeta answered. "Now stop stalling." "Well, since you asked, I guess I can be happy to oblige." And as if a switch flipped, Frieza suddenly flashed purple, blinding the entire area around him before the glow receded, revealing a purple egg on the area Frieza was previously standing, and inside was Frieza as cracks were appearing over Frieza's face. Leftwards wave arrow. "Gohan, Krillin, hang on," was the mental plea of one Son Goku as he was healing in the chamber, and somewhere at the same time, a figure was running at full speed on the water, a surprising feat to the Z warriors if they saw it. "Man, that is one heck of a power increase," the figure mentally commented as he was running with his partner, agreeing in his head. "That woman, Bulma, she said that her friends could fly," the voice in his head replied back. "How will you combat that?" "I learned the Yamanaka mind jutsu and proceeded to improve it. All I have to do is look into the eyes of one of the fighters and then snap." "I'm still surprised you were the dead last during your academy days." Naruto smirked as he kept on running on the lake before he threw his kunai again, disappearing in a red-orange flash. Leftwards wave arrow. Inside the egg, Frieza's body grew taller, which was followed by his body mass increasing. His torso got bulkier, followed by his two legs, then his tail. He now stood a few feet taller than all the fighters before him, almost as tall as a truck. The final change was his horns as they extended before pointing upwards in a perpendicular angle. Krillin, Vegeta, Gohan and Den felt the output Frieza released, and Krillin nearly wet his pants. "Krillin, if you make it back before me, tell my mum she was right," Gohan said as he gulped before backpedaling away from the monster that was Frieza, while Krillin was rooted on the spot, too sacred to come up with a witty comeback for Gohan. "Well, what do you think, Vegeta? I hope I met your expectations, ha 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 ha," Frieza chuckled in a deeper voice than his previous. Vegeta swallowed as he looked at what he asked for standing in front of him. He was now regretting opening his big mouth. "What's the matter, Vegeta? I thought you said you could handle me in this form," Frieza said, stalking towards the trembling prince. "You've suddenly run out of bold threats, but no matter, it's time to end this." Following that statement, Frieza's tail dug underground before it moved to stab Krillin, who moved out of the way immediately, but the tail turned into a whip and lashed the group, but they luckily evaded the strike. The tail retracted back to Frieza, and Gohan watched amazed. "Wow," he said. "You like that, huh? Then you'll definitely like this little info I'm about to share with you," Frieza said, and then looked at Vegeta. "I'm sure if you had your scouter, you would have spotted that my fighting power is well over 1 million. "What?" Vegeta demanded. Impossible," Gohan said. "It's true. Here, let me show you." Frieza raised his palm over his face and smirked. With a single shrug of his shoulder, once again, the area was covered in a blinding pink light before the earth started to shake, signifying the buildup of energy, but that wasn't the only thing happening. The surrounding lake around them parted, revealing the solid ground underneath, creating a wave as a result of said action as a purple aura started to form around Frieza. The wind also started to pick up, pushing Piccolo away from his destination as he was flying while the running shinobi was running on solid ground where water used to be. Back with the fighters, Vegeta caught a rock heading his way before crushing it in anger while Gohan and Krillin were flying away from the chaos Frieza's build-up caused while Frieza was still laughing at their expressions. "Krillin, are you okay?" Gohan asked his bald friend who was carrying Dend as they floated a few feet from Frieza. Frieza smirked and rushed from his position to Krillin, who quickly let go of Dend, saving the Namekian from his death, but that didn't stop Frieza in the slightest as he continued on and stabbed Krillin on his stomach with his extended horn. "Krillin!" Dend shouted in anguish. "Krillin, no!" Gohan cried, seeing the continuous torture of his friend, unsuspecting of the rage that was building inside him. What an idiot! He should never have stood up for that Namekian kid. Vegeta insulted as he shook his head at the idiocy the bald-headed human showed. "I tried to tell him, but will he listen?" "Ah, I'm sorry, does it hurt?" Frieza childishly asked his nearly dead prey. "Guess I don't know my own strength." Frieza shook his head, getting the reaction he wanted, hearing Krillin scream in anguish at the action. Frieza then caught Krillin's knee as he tried to strike him. Angry at his friend's peril, Gohan rushed at Frieza with no plan, but that proved his downfall as Frieza whipped him away with his tail. Gohan was dizzy as he fell from the hit, but he caught himself before looking back at Frieza, who was nodding his head, torturing Krillin, who was still on his horn. He growled at the blood that splattered on his face, blood from his friend. "I guess this is it," Krillin thought as he was losing consciousness from the torture he was receiving. "Frieza's just too powerful. Goku, where were you?" Leftwards wave arrow. "Hang in there, Krillin. Once these wounds have healed, I'll be there for you, buddy." A healing Goku thought from inside his healing tube, feeling his friend's energy fading away slowly. "Be strong." Leftwards wave arrow. Feeling the body slump on his head, Frieza smirked in pleasure and said, "That takes care of this one." He flung the body into the lake below, laughing at the expressions he spotted on the pests surrounding him, especially that kid. When the boy rushed to get the body that splashed in the water, Frieza frowned before he disappeared from his spot and appeared in front of the charging Gohan, looking up at him. "Do you think you can save him?" Frieza asked a sacred Gohan. "How cute." Growling, Gohan glanced at the drowning body in the lake before he shifted his attention back to Frieza, who chuckled some more. "He does that a lot. Might I suggest that you start worrying about yourself?" Frieza asked. I wonder who I should kill next." His eyes roamed over to Dend. "Will it be you?" It then roamed over to Gohan. "Are you?" Before it roamed to Vegeta. "Or will you do?" Vegeta growled at Frieza before he felt the spark of power from Gohan and looked at him in surprise. "You?" Gohan snarled. "Animal." Rushing at Frieza with an unexpected burst of strength, Gohan gave the Overlord a powerful kick to the side of his face, sending him flying back before rushing behind Frieza, punching his stomach with the same strength he used from before, making Frieza spit blood much to his surprise. But he wasn't done with that punch. He continued with a sequence of punches to the Overlord gut that hurt him a lot before ending with an uppercut that arched Frieza's back in a painful angle, finishing with a bicycle kick to his gut, sending Frieza to the lake. Surprised at the attack and the amount of damage caused to him, Frieza looked back at the kid only to see a yellow beam of energy heading towards him, so he crossed his hands over his face to block the attack. But as that one was blocked, he looked at the boy to see the boy charging with another yellow beam in his hand before the boy grabbed his face with the hand the beam was charging on, launching the beam on his face. Gohan wasn't done as he saw the body of Frieza tumbling to the ground. He pointed his two arms to the sky and gathered energy before attacking him with an attack of energy blasts as the body connected with the ground, with each blast more powerful than the last. After the consecutive energy blast, Gohan raised both arms and gathered energy for an attack. You could see a yellow disc of energy starting to form, but Gohan knew he needed more, so he added more power to it before he launched the attack, simultaneously yelling the name Masenko. Ha! Shock and rage, That was what you could use to describe the look on Vegeta's face right now. Shock at how a brat like him was able to injure Frieza of all people while Vegeta couldn't, and that was where the rage stemmed from. The feeling he got knowing that it was a child that accomplished this, and not just any child. The child of that clown Kakarot, the same clown that humiliated him back on that backwater planet called Earth. Damn you Kakarot, even when you're not here you humiliate me. He thought that he looked back to where the attack made contact. There's just no way. Gohan didn't care what Vegeta was thinking right now, but there was something else on his mind. Krillin. As he moved to get the body of his friend, he was a bit relieved that the Namekian child had rescued his friend, if seeing him and Krillin appearing at the surface of the water was any indication. We don't have time to worry about him, Vegeta said. If you think you've finished off Frieza, just look. Surprised by that statement, Gohan looked down to the body of Frieza to see it standing up before Frieza dusted the sand off himself. Glancing at Gohan, he smirked. My turn, he simply said before appearing in front of Gohan. But remember, every hit I was given, I will return it back tenfold. Gohan didn't have time to run as he was kicked on the head hard by Frieza, sending him rocketing downwards, but Frieza didn't stop there as he followed up with a kick to his gut as he before sending him down to earth hard with a final kick to the skull, making Gohan scream in pain as he landed on the ground from the assault. Seeing his opportunity, Vegeta charged up a beam of energy and appeared behind Frieza, who was looking at the downed body of Gohan. Never turn your back on your enemy, he said before he launched his attack at Frieza. Garlic gun. Frieza shivered in irritation as Vegeta's attack hit him. He frowned when the smoke died down and tilted his head back to a shocked Vegeta, who noticed that his attack had zero effect on damaging him, and said, "That tickled." He then turned back to Gohan, who was on the ground while still addressing Vegeta. Unfortunately for you Vegeta, I am rather preoccupied right now, so why don't you be patient a bit? Vegeta watched as Frieza floated down to the ground where Gohan was laying down before landing beside the child. Gohan seemed to have sensed his presence because he got up and tried to rush Frieza, only to meet the floor with Frieza's foot on his face. He felt relieved when Frieza released his foot from his Gohan face, but that relief was short-lived as he screamed in pain as his spine was nearly crushed by the same foot that was on Gohan's face. Frieza then moved to place his feet on Gohan's face once more, silencing his screams. You have a long way to go before you can even hope to be my equal. Really? Then from what I've seen, you must be really weak to take a hit from a kid, a voice said cheekily, making Frieza frown and look around for the source of the voice. Either you come out or the midget get his first-hand experience on lobotomization, Frieza threatened. The voice was silent before Frieza tilted his head, dodging a kunai that was heading straight for him, and said, if that's the best you got, then I think fighting you would be pointless. Yeah, only you would think that, the voice said from behind him, causing Frieza's eyes to widen at the sound before he turned around only to meet the face of a smirking blonde holding a blue spinning orb as large as the Namekian Dragon Ball in his right hand. Rasengan, bitch. Even I know that isn't enough to take you down, the blonde known as Uzumaki Naruto said as he stared at the crater created from the aftermath of his technique. Looking down to his feet, he saw the pained body of Gohan looking up at him with one eye. Who are you? Gohan painfully asked his savior, and a small part of his mind wondered why he felt a familiar like his dad. Think of me as a long-lost uncle. Naruto had no idea why he said that, but he reached into his pouch and took one of the new soldier pills that was created during the war. Builds up energy up to 60% and heals your wounds instantly. He was the only one that got a batch, and before they could create another batch, the medic station was infiltrated and destroyed, so he had to use these carefully. Gohan opened his mouth and chewed the awful tasting pill in his mouth and chewed. With a blink, he felt his wounds heal and his energy return fully. He didn't use up to 50%, so it would obviously fill up. He got up and flexed his fists amazed at the healing he received and looked up to Naruto with a grateful smile. Thanks, mister. I feel like I haven't wasted any energy at all and my wounds are all healed. He said to Naruto, who smiled at Gohan before patting his head. It's okay. I'm sure that if I didn't do that, then the half-slug half-human would have blown his casket if the glare I'm receiving is anything to go by. Naruto said, pointing up to a dot in the sky, causing Gohan to look up in question at what he was referring to. Mr. Piccolo, you're alive, Gohan announced in excitement at seeing his friend was alive and well. Looks like the dragon came through for us after all. Another voice said, causing Gohan to turn around and see a completely healed Krillin smiling at him. Yo. Krillin, save the excitement for later. Right now I have one question. An annoyed Vegeta said, and he looked to Naruto, who was just standing looking off into space with a carefree expression he knew he'd seen somewhere before. Who are you and what are you doing here? Geez, you'd think a thank you from Mr. I am better than you would be sufficient, but no, he just asks questions without introducing himself. Naruto complained. Maybe I should have let Tall, Dark and Scary kill you while he had the chance. Anything that would have been said further was interrupted by the rise of Frieza, who looked at the blonde with annoyance clear in his face before he cracked his neck. I find myself having to agree with Vegeta on this one, Frieza said. Who are you? You can't be a Saiyan because I made sure I wiped out the pathetic race years ago, leaving only Vegeta here and the 2 lucky pods that escaped my destruction. Oh, you mean a silver pod with a red see-through glass? Yeah, I guess one of them was mine and the other was probably my twin Kakarot. I guess we were very lucky to escape that destruction, Naruto causally said, much to their surprise. What? Vegeta demanded, shocked at this revelation. Dad had a twin brother? Gohan asked. Krillin then looked closely to Naruto, but they look nothing alike. Well, he does have the tail. See, it's wrapped around his waist. Krillin observed, spotting Naruto's tail around his waist. That proves he's a Saiyan, but it doesn't prove that he's Goku's twin. Piccolo said. I mean, look at him. He's probably 7 years older than Gohan here, and Goku's in his mid-20s. If they were twins, then they would be the same age. The Namekian is right, but right now we have something more important to worry about. Vegeta said, gazing at Frieza, who was listening to this conversation. While the appearance of one more of you pathetic monkeys is shocking, I'm afraid I have a schedule to keep, so why don't settle this squabble of ours? Frieza stated to the fighters. Piccolo stepped forward. I'll be the one to battle him, he said to the surprised Z warriors. Are you insane? Krillin questioned, demanded. He's right, Piccolo. Frieza's too powerful, Gohan said. I'm shocked, Gohan, Piccolo said. I thought that you had faith in me. He then looked at Frieza and walked towards him before glancing at Naruto. I hope you don't mind me taking this one. No, go right ahead, Naruto said. Then he sat at a meditative pose and closed his eyes, waving his arm. Besides, I'm sure that I could learn a thing or two from your fight. Smiling, Piccolo moved forward before turning serious. Frieza, it's time to end your reign of terror once and for all. How amusing, Frieza said. And do you think that you've got what it takes to beat me? Piccolo smirked. Why don't we find out? He said before he disappeared from his spot and appeared in front of Frieza, throwing a punch that Frieza caught. But Piccolo didn't stop there, as he threw a punch with his other hand, something that Frieza caught again. Still smirking, Piccolo, adding a lot of power to his leg, kneed Frieza on the gut, causing the Overlord to double over in pain before he was sent flying with a side kick, causing him to let go of Piccolo, who chased after him and punched him on the face, but he blocked it with his hand. Punch after punch after punch, Piccolo drove Frieza on the defensive, much to his shock, but Piccolo didn't stop as he kept on attacking Frieza. Annoyed, Frieza rushed away from him to get some space to start the counter-attack, but Piccolo was already in front of him with his index and middle finger on his forehead, charging up electricity. Special Beam Cannon. Piccolo announced as he shot his attack at Frieza, who had to quickly evade the close proximity attack before he used his tail to smack Piccolo away, creating a well-needed space. Back to the fighters, Vegeta was shocked at what he was seeing. That a Namekian was able to do what he couldn't was vexing on his own. Speaking of Namekian. You, Baldy, who healed you? Vegeta asked as he looked at Krillin. Have you been holding back on us? What are you talking about? Krillin replied, if I had known that Dent could heal this quickly, don't you think we would have healed Goku already? Dent, Vegeta pondered, and then in a sudden bout of realization, he looked at the small Namekian child who was trying to make himself invisible. So he's the one that healed the Earthling. He thought. Then a plan formed in his mind. I'll get Baldy here to critically damage me to an inch of my life, then order the small Namekian to heal me, thus increasing my chances of becoming a Super Saiyan. Unaware of what Vegeta was thinking, Gohan was watching the fight between Piccolo and Frieza, trying to keep up with them as they were moving faster than the eyes. It was only the shockwave that was created in the aftermath of their punches. Oh wow, Piccolo is keeping up with Frieza. Gohan said, transfixed at the fight above him. No, he's not. Frieza's holding back. Vegeta said, shocking those around him except Naruto, who knew that as well. So what do you think our chances are? Naruto mentally asked Kurama, who shrugged in his mind. Let's see. You got Chakra Gates, Sage Mode and Golden Chakra Mode versions 1 through 3. Then there's the fusion of that in Sage Mode. I think we can handle him. Kurama replied. Luckily you can keep up with him in taijutsu thanks to that spandex-wearing Junin, but then you'll have to learn how to fly. Yeah, about that, Naruto thought back. Isn't there a way you can just implant the skill to my mind? I'm sure you lived thousands of years to see at least one or more people fly and learn their secret. What happened to the idea you spoke of earlier? Single quote. I lied. Oh, for the love of, fine, I'll help you with this, but rest assured, if you lie to me again, you'll have nightmares of that spandex-wearing Chunin and his sensei in their birthday suits. Are we clear? Crystal. A scared Naruto replied, knowing that what his friend was saying is true. He was snapped out of his conversation when a body crashed the mountain in front of him. Looking up, he saw Frieza setting his sights on the destroyed mountain diagonally below him before he disappeared and appeared in the destruction and started to fire blasts at the immobile body. He was sure that Piccolo was taunting him. Panting before jumping back, Frieza admired his work, seeing the smoke below him before turning to face the rest of the fighters, more specifically Naruto, who was meditating. So who's next? He asked, but a voice spoke, shocking him completely as he made sure that the owner was dead. If that's the best you've got, then I'm really disappointed. Looking behind him, seeing the smoke clear behind him, he frowned at the figure that floated there. Piccolo removed his tattered clothes and they dropped to the ground below him with a heavy thud before he creaked his neck and knuckles and looked up to Frieza. I don't really have all day, Frieza, so why don't we wrap this up? Piccolo asked before taking his fighting stance. You disgust me, Frieza simply said before they both clashed fists again, but with a burst of angry energy. Piccolo's punch finally connected to Frieza's face before sending a kick to his gut and then giving him a sequence of punches and kicks that all connected, with each being more powerful than the last. This suddenly turned one-sided fight was so brutal, and the level of it even surprised the Saiyan prince, who was suddenly starting to believe that they might have a chance to win this fight. Piccolo himself was confident in his victory to the match, as he was currently giving Frieza a very powerful pile driver that created a large crater on the ground, and he was sure it would knock him out completely, but just to make sure, he placed his left palm over the back of his right palm and charged his energy. Masenko. Ha! A yellow beam shot towards the crater and it suddenly was covered in a dome of energy, destroying everything within its radius before the dome died out completely. He actually did it, Vegeta whispered before glancing at the excited-looking Gohan and Krillin. Now all I have to do is get rid of these two and maybe He then glanced at the still meditating Naruto, who frowned before opening his eyes, looking to where Frieza's body currently was. Annoyance, and a lot of it coming from that direction. Naruto said, using his emotion sensing ability, and for any emotion to come out of that destruction it would mean that Frieza's still alive. Piccolo completed before he got frustrated. What does a Namekian have to do? Rightwards two-headed arrow, rightwards squiggle arrow. Leftwards squiggle arrow, leftwards two-headed arrow. Meanwhile in the healing tube, Goku frowned. Man, Frieza's power level dropped seriously. Whoever beat him sure is strong. Rightwards two-headed arrow, rightwards squiggle arrow. Leftwards squiggle arrow, leftwards two-headed arrow. King Kai was focusing on the fight below using his antennas to record it, and he was surprised at what he witnessed and voiced out his thoughts. I don't know how he did it, but it seems that Piccolo got stronger as he arrived Namek. Does that mean he can beat Frieza? Yamcha, one of the humans on the planet they currently were on, asked King Kai, who shook his head. No, no matter how strong he gets, he will never be able to beat Frieza. Damn it, that means we're stuck here, Yamcha said to the gang. Tien and Xiaosu looked at King Kai with an expectant look before Tien spoke. Let's just hope Goku recovers on time and beats Frieza once and for all. Rightwards two-headed arrow, rightwards squiggle arrow. Leftwards squiggle arrow, leftwards two-headed arrow. I know you weren't here before, but I think it's okay to let you know that can transform 3 more times, with each one being more powerful than the last. Frieza said to Piccolo, who scoffed. I'll believe it when I see it, he said to Frieza, who chuckled at the bravery shown by the Namekian. Well then, I hope I make an impression on you, Frieza said. Then he separated his hands and started to gather his energy as he was encased in a pink aura. Vegeta was once again starting to consider what kind of idiots he was working with, because they just keep goading the one being that is more powerful than any of them, and seeing him transform again, well, he's starting to reconsider his options. Well, this is interesting, Naruto thought as he saw Frieza go through his transformation process, but once he felt the increase in power he inwardly cursed. The energy on this planet is weak. I don't know if I can try gathering energy from other nearby planets, but it is worth a shot. With that, Naruto extended the range of his energy gathering for the first time in his life, commanding the clones to do the same, and the only one that noticed the buildup of power was currently in a healing tube. Piccolo frowned as he saw that Frieza had finished his transformation quite faster than he expected, and there wasn't much change there. He just had shoulder pads and the back of his head was longer with white horns around it. Apart from that, he just looked the same. Well, what do you think? Frieza asked Piccolo. I might not win any beauty contest, but it does get the job done, and if it doesn't, I have other forms to try. Quote. Appearing in front of Piccolo, he gave the Namekian a kick to the kidney, following with a dropkick to the head that shook Piccolo a bit as he recovered, looking back up at the transformed alien. Uhu, I made you speechless. Oh, how absolutely fantastic, Frieza said, chuckling. But I have to ask, have you played paintball? What? Just remove the T from paint, Frieza said. OIGE. Krillin was interrupted as Frieza started to fire multiple finger beams at Piccolo, who was too slow to dodge them, so he took every hit down to the letter, much to his shock. Stretching, Naruto got up and walked forward, catching the attention of Vegeta and the other fighters. Where do you think you're going? Vegeta asked him. Can't you see he's unbeatable? If you step in, you will fall. Oh, will you shut up with your whining? Naruto said. Then he opened his eyes, showing yellow irises on both eyes, horizontal pupils, and a reddish-orange pigmentation around each pupil. What's up with his eyes? Krillin asked. Forget his eyes. Can you feel that power he has? Gohan said. Come to think of it, he does feel stronger than each of us, and is probably as strong as Frieza currently is, Vegeta thought. Just who is this guy? In a flash of yellow light that temporarily blinded the fighters, Naruto appeared behind Frieza before giving him a roundhouse kick to the head, saving Piccolo from any more damage. You all right? Naruto asked the Namekian, who grunted an answer before he dropped down next to Den, who proceeded to heal him. "Oh, please do come and try your luck," Frieza said as he recovered from the kick, floating next to Naruto, who was standing on the water. "I'm eager to test my new transformation on something worth looking on." Naruto just kept silent before disappearing in a yellow flash and appearing behind Frieza with his fists clenched and backwards before he threw the first punch, catching Frieza by surprise at the speed of the entire motion before he was sent flying from Naruto, who chased after the flying body and delivered an upwards kick, sending Frieza hurtling to the sky, where he flashed above him, giving the Overlord a dropkick, sending Frieza back down to the earth. But Frieza recovered and rushed back to Naruto, who was rushing to him as well before they met with a collision of fists. Like with Piccolo's battle, shockwaves could be seen in the space that the two previously were, but unlike Piccolo's battle, the shockwaves were larger and pushed the remaining fighters back from the force of each meeting point of Naruto and Frieza's flesh. Down on the earth, Den finished healing Piccolo, who got up and thanked the young Namekian before he flew to where Krillin, Gohan and Vegeta were floating. "What's up?" Piccolo asked. "That Naruto guy has Frieza on the ropes," Krillin said, "and in his third form. We might actually win this." An excited and relieved Gohan said to the group, while Vegeta scoffed at the thought. "Isn't that what you said when the Namekian over here was fighting Frieza before?" Vegeta said as he thumbed at Piccolo, who scoffed. "Well, yeah, but unlike Piccolo, he can actually face Frieza in his third form," Krillin countered. "It's only a matter of time before he falls to Frieza, Saiyan or not," Vegeta said to Krillin, "and that's where I'll swoop in and save the day." "How?" Gohan asked Vegeta, who smirked at the preteen as he replied. "By killing me within an inch of my life so that the kid over there could then heal me, thus making me able to match Frieza in terms of strength. Yeah, like we're going to let you become stronger than you already are," Piccolo said as he scoffed at the idea, while Vegeta huffed and folded his arms over his shoulders. "It's the best idea we've got." "Yeah, right," Piccolo said before he and the others shifted their attention back to the fight. Rightwards two-headed arrow, rightwards squiggle arrow. Leftwards squiggle arrow, leftwards two-headed arrow. Single quote ... single quote. The tube that was healing Goku was at 95%, which was unknown to said Saiyan, who was currently in said tube. His body though was flinching as he felt the fight going on, and he felt the familiar energy was gradually thumping Frieza's energy. "Wow, whoever this guy is, I can't wait to fight him," Goku thought, especially if he can easily boost his power levels like that. Rightwards two-headed arrow, rightwards squiggle arrow. Leftwards squiggle arrow, leftwards two-headed arrow. Whoever this guy is really keeping ground with Frieza, King Kai thought as he monitored the fight between Naruto and Frieza. "Let's hope Goku can heal on time." Rightwards two-headed arrow, rightwards squiggle arrow. Leftwards squiggle arrow, leftwards two-headed arrow. Crashing to the ground below his opponent, Frieza got up from the crater he was in and looked at Naruto with a snarl on his face. "Enough," Frieza ordered as he gathered his energy. "This has gone on long enough. It is time you all learnt absolute obedience." With an explosion of power, everyone was blinded with yet another pink light, and within the light, changes were taking place on Frieza as he was shrinking in size. Another thing that occurred was the smoothening of his skin, as it's covered with a thin white outer shell with an oval purple plate from his to the place where his belly button would be. His shoulder pads turned purple as well as his forehead and back head. Opening his eyes after the light died down, Frieza looked at Naruto, who was looking at him with confusion before said Saiyan was sent flying by a punch from Frieza that knocked the Sage mode out of him. But Frieza didn't stop there as he appeared where Naruto was going to land and used his knee to smash his face in very hard. You could hear the bones break, and that was saying something. Using his tail, Frieza picked up Naruto by his neck before squeezing it and punching his stomach, causing Naruto to spit out blood on his face, and seeing this, he continued the torment until the body he was holding was limp, and just to make sure he didn't get up, Frieza palmed his captive's back and charged a purple beam through the chest of Naruto before dropping the limp body to the side as he started bleeding out. He threw it to the side before looking at the others that were looking back at him in fear. He disappeared and appeared behind Vegeta before stabbing the shocked and scared Saiyan through the chest with his hand before he removed it and wiped it on the Saiyan prince's back as he fell down. "That's 2 monkeys down, and a couple more annoyances to go," Frieza said, looking at the 3 midgets that were trembling in fear while Piccolo hid his emotions very well. He then looked at Gohan before firing a beam straight towards him, or so they thought. Dend pushed Gohan away from the beam, but that action was not without a price, and the price was the life of the young Namekian. It was at that moment something snapped in Gohan, who with a scream charged at Frieza, but before he could go any further, he was stopped by the arrival of his dad, who stood in his front. "Daddy!" Gohan called out in excitement and relief as Goku arrived in the scene, looking at the dead bodies, spotting the dead body of Vegeta and the unconscious body of Naruto, whom he guessed was the cause of the familiar energy. "Gohan, are you all right?" he asked his son, who nodded his confirmation before the full Saiyan turned to Frieza. "Good. Now who is that on the ground a few feet away from Vegeta?" "He said he is your twin dad," Gohan said, "but apart from Raditz, I didn't know you had another brother." "Well, Raditz did mention that I had a twin that was sent out to a different planet somewhere, and sometimes I did feel strange, as if that there was a part of me missing," Goku said, scratching his chin in remembrance before he looked back at Frieza, who just looked at the scene play out. "Well, I for one am glad to rid the world of useless monkeys, even if they're related to you," Frieza griped out, but Goku ignored him as with a mere glare, he created 2 holes on the ground big enough to bury bodies and picked up Naruto's body first. "Thank you for helping defend my friend and family," Goku thanked Naruto as he placed his body in the ground before he filled it with sand. "I'm sure if the situation were different, I would have gotten to know the brother I never had, unlike someone else I have the displeasure of mentioning." After he finished burying the dead body of Naruto, he did the same to Vegeta while he prayed for both of them before he looked back at Frieza with a glare. "So you must be Frieza," Goku stated blandly to the alien overlord, who looked at him with a frown. "Yes, I am. And who are you?" Goku got into his fighting stance, prompting Frieza to do the same while he replied the question asked. "I am your end." And both met in a fury of fists, beginning round 3 of the greatest fight known to the Z warriors. Rightwards 2-headed arrow, rightwards squiggle arrow. Leftwards squiggle arrow, leftwards 2-headed arrow. Purple eyes snapped open in eternal darkness before his vision cleared to see himself in a reflection. This figure was masculine with a brown tail and black spiky hair, spikier than Goku and Vegeta, that ended at his shoulder blades. Some bangs of his hair rested on his shoulder, and if there was something else the figure noticed, it was that he was Eep. He desperately tried to cover himself, but he couldn't with no form of clothing available for light years, and he frowned at the chuckle he heard before looking up and seeing an ominous figure looking down at him. "Sub Saiyajin, or should I call you Naruto Uzumaki?" he heard the figure ask and frowned. If he was Naruto, wouldn't his hair be blonde? When he suddenly remembered that the fox said that from birth, he was under a modified illusion that was unbreakable. "Who are you?" Naruto asked, and to his confusion, he heard hisses and whispers, something about disrespect, or what not. "I am the creator of all things," the figure said. "While normally you would have ended up in a check-in station of King Yama, I feel that it is best I intervene." "Okay. Then answer me this," Naruto said. "Am I dead?" No you aren't," the figure said. "You are in what is called eternal limbo, the gap in between life and death." "Well, what's there to decide? I mean, with after everything I've been through, I feel like I have nothing to live for." "Are you sure?" the figure said, and with a snap of his fingers Naruto saw the fight between Goku and Frieza, where Goku was finding it difficult to hold his own against a 50% full power Frieza. Then the image switched to a scared Bulma who was hanging for her life at the edge of a cliff for a reason he didn't quite catch. Okay. But why show me an image of Bulma? Naruto asked, confused at that. I mean, we just met, so I hardly see. Did you remember to use protection? The figure asked. Quote. Naruto blankly stared at the image of Bulma before connecting the dots. Shit. Shit indeed. The figure chuckled. But don't be disappointed. The joys of fatherhood can change a man even if said man is you. Okay, so I'm a dad, Naruto said, but I don't even know if I want to be one after the life I've led. Just give it a chance. The figure said. Besides, I'm quite sure that she won't be the only female that would birth your offspring. Great. Spoil the future for me, won't you? Then Naruto came to a sudden realization. Hey, if you're the creator of all things, then is it possible to see either my mom or dad here? Naruto asked with hope in his voice. With sadness, the figure replied, I am sorry I cannot do that because both are currently alive but are far apart from each other. The figure said, but before Naruto could say anything, like you, your father has gone back in time to an age where he is needed while your mom is currently working for a female empress or so. A dejected Naruto sighed before he stood straight, having made the decision. Well, I guess eventually I will meet my mom, though my dad, I am not sure. It is through him that the legend known as the Super Saiyan is born, so while you won't meet your dad, you would meet his legacy in your brother and later you. That counts for something, Naruto said before looking up to the sky. Well, I think it's time I got back to Earth so that I can help my brother. Oh, and just before you go, I managed to give you a little gift that you would come to appreciate later. The figure said, and just before Naruto could question what he meant, he disappeared. Just as Goku raised his arms to the sky, at the grave of Naruto, a hand emerged from the burial site before another followed, with the body pulling itself up. Naruto shook the dirt of his head before getting up and tapping the dirt out of his shirt and cloak with his gloved hand before flexing it, feeling way stronger than he was before, and he was surprised at the sudden influx of information he received. So that's what he meant by gifts, Naruto said before looking up. He saw a blue ball of energy, bigger than the one he had seen in his mind and definitely bigger than his gallant Rasengan. Holy! Looking underneath it, he saw his brother, with his arms stretched to the sky, and guessed that he was the cause of the attack, and it was then he decided to help stall for whatever plan his brother had, and with a flash of yellow light, he appeared behind the unsuspecting Frieza with a Rasengan powered in his mind. Rasengan. Wah slam. Frieza's body was sent spinning to the ground as he succumbed to the effects of the Rasengan, but Naruto wasn't taking any chances, so he grabbed Piccolo before he looked at the still body of Goku, who looked at the scene in surprise because the spiky-haired Saiyan was sure he buried that body. What are you waiting for, idiot? That seemed to snap Goku out of his trance, and it was in good time too. Oh right, take cover. He yelled before throwing his technique at the downed body of Frieza, who found it quite painful to get up. Oh crap, Frieza said as he looked up after noticing a shadow befall him, and it was just as Goku yelled the name of his technique he saw black Spirit Bomb. So tell me, how did you survive death without using the Dragon Balls? Goku asked his fellow Saiyan in front of him, who removed his ripped-off shirt and cloak, leaving him in orange baggy trousers and a pair of shinobi gloves. Naruto scratched his seemingly spikier hair at the question before looking back at Goku. Well, I was never truly dead per se, I have an impressive healing factor. So I supposedly buried you alive? Goku asked Naruto, who nodded in confirmation before Piccolo brought up a question. What are the limits to your healing factor? Are they as limited as Namekian's? Yes, I would like to know that as well, a voice said from behind them, shocking the fighters completely. But first, the owner of the voice pointed his fingers at Piccolo. Let's test the limits of the Namekian's healing factor. Piccolo. It was that shout by Gohan that snapped everybody out of their frozen state, hearing the body of the Namekian drop with a thud before the voice chuckled. It seems that the Namekians can't recover from a lost lung. The voice said before he moved his hand to another target, and the fragile body of Krillin was stiff before it levitated on its own with no motor skills from its owner, who was freaking out. Wah, 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 boom. The body of Krillin exploded into tiny pieces before his best friend's eyes. Something then snapped in Goku, who had his back hunched in shock and anger. "Krillin," he quietly whispered. As if the weather itself was responding to Goku's anger, the clouds gathered together and one could hear the crack of thunder that sounded, which was followed by the flash of lightning. "Oh, out of all the people I've blown to bits, that one will hold a special place in my heart," Frieza coyly said, looking at the flinching Goku, and taunted, "Come on, monkey, say something funny." "Why, you killed my best friend," Goku growled, and Frieza laughed. "Oh, that is funny," he said in between laughs, but then he looked up and noticed the change in the atmospheric pressure. Frieza didn't know what to make of this sudden change in weather. He didn't once consider the reason for that was the black-haired Saiyan in front of him, as he had other things in mind as he set his sights on Gohan, who was still in shock at his mentor's death. "Now for you, little boy," he said, but before he could do any further, he was interrupted by a scream of rage and explosion of energy that was followed closely by a blinding flash of light. He looked up to see the glaring green eyes of Son Goku looking back right at him. "That's not funny. That's not funny at all," Frieza fearfully said. "I don't believe it." King Kai stuttered in shock and awe. Goku has become the one thing that Frieza fears above all, a Super Saiyan. And in Namek, Frieza suddenly felt the urge to kill little blue men, even though he was really sacred right now. Opening credits. Dokkan Sudaru. Dokkan Dokkan Paradise. Genkadama ga Hajike Tobu Z go let's do it. Yugomaku Ayashi Anaji. Yusha wa Shanai Z Materu yo. Inochi ni Kate mo Mamoru yo. Aijuru Yuki wo Suyosa ni Karo. Yari Nuku ki I de pinch wo Koteku. Tego wa Yatsu Hodo waku Modekai Z. Dokkan Sudaru. Dokkan Kaitaru Z. Mato Mirai ga Kanashiku Naru yo. Dokkan Sudaru. Dokkan Dokkan Paradise. Genki Dama ga, Hajikatobu Z go let's do it. Dragon's Soul. Chapter 3. The Rebirth of a Legacy. Kurama. Time to show them what the both of us can do. Naruto thought back, expecting a response from his partner. Weird, he received none, but now wasn't the time, as he placed his hands in the ram seal, expecting himself to feel the familiar warmness of his chakra cloak, but as he opened his eyes, it was not what he saw. He was instead surrounded in an orange flame-like aura, seemingly building up more energy than he wanted, and not knowing that his build-up was complete. He wanted it to stop completely, so he released the energy, and similarly to Goku. But he got a reaction he didn't want, and it was instead released in the form of an explosion, which was followed by an orange light, and once that died down, the onlookers were confused and surprised at what they saw. Like Goku, Naruto's muscles bulged, but not too much. Just the right amount that would make body movements easier and lighter, but that wasn't the only thing they saw. Naruto's hair that was brown before was back to blonde, only this time, where Goku's hair was standing straight up, Naruto's hair remained down, which was an indicator that he wasn't in the same state as Goku. Another indicator was the two horns that formed from his hairs that symbolized something to Naruto but not to others, and the third thing were the seals that were on Naruto's arms, chest, torso and trousers. The seals he gets in Tailed Beast Chakra mode. The ones on his skin faded seconds later, but not his trousers, and as Naruto looked up with his eyes, instead of the emerald green that Goku had, red eyes with a cross-shaped pupil were found back, staring back at them. "This isn't what I was expecting," Naruto said. "Hey Kurama, are you there? Kurama, Fox." Naruto tried to call out his partner, but he received no response as to what happened with their transformation, but then he remembered, "Is this one of the gifts I was left with?" If it's at the cost of losing my friend, then I don't want it. Naruto knew that he couldn't get rid of it now, so he had to make do with what he had. Another thing he noticed was the nearly depleted chakra he had. It's like almost all my chakra drained. What happened? Though he was shocked at how amazingly strong he felt, but he then recalled he was in the middle of something. Looking to his left, he saw Goku looking at him in curiosity, though he could still sense the anger that his twin released, and then turning his head to Frieza, he was satisfied to say that the Overlord looked ready to soil his pants. This is going to be easier than I originally thought, Naruto thought with a grin on his face as he looked at Frieza. Gohan, take Piccolo, find Bulma and get back to the ship. Goku ordered his surprised son, who looked back at him not quite expecting this rational side of his dad. But what about you? Gohan asked, concerned about this decision. If Piccolo dies, then all this was pointless. Goku rationalized before glaring at his son. Take Piccolo and leave now. Oh wow, Gohan said. That's surprisingly well thought out for you. Gohan, where should you be right now? Goku calmly interrupted. The ship. Okay. A sacred Gohan said before picking up the body of Piccolo and flying away from the fight. Frieza saw this and chuckled. Moving targets are much more fun if I do say so myself, he said before he aimed his finger at the retreating figure, but his view was blocked by a blonde with red crossed eyes who grabbed his firing hand and squeezed it. You weren't thinking of doing what I thought, now were you? Naruto calmly asked Frieza, who tried to remove his grip from the blonde. Ga, what are you doing? Let go of me. Gladly, Naruto said before he threw the body of Frieza to Goku, who caught it on the neck, bringing Frieza up to meet his eyes. I'm going to break you, Goku declared, like a Kit Kat bar. Wah smack. Frieza was sent flying with a hard slap to the face, but before he had time to recover, Goku appeared beside him and broke the tyrant's back with his knee, or at least that's what should have happened. Frieza recovered and fired finger beams at Goku, who dodged each of them with ease, creating an afterimage showing how fast he was going with each dodge. Pausing while panting, Frieza looked at Goku in his most intimidating look while Naruto looked from the side. You're different, what the hell are you? Can't you tell, Frieza? Goku replied, it's what you've been afraid of the whole time. No you fucking don't. Frieza growled, knowing the speech that Goku was about to say, having heard it before, and to be honest, it was starting to get on his nerves. I am the hope of the Omniverse, Goku started. I am the light bulb in the darkness, I am the bacon in the fridge for all living things that cry out in hunger. I am the alpha and the amoeba, I am the terror that flaps in the night. Taking the horse stance and releasing his aura, Goku shouted, finishing his speech, I am Son Goku and I am a super boom. Frieza panted as he held his smoking finger, looking at the body of Goku as it floated with his head back before Goku recovered and looked at the tyrant with a smirk, causing him to growl some more in rage. Saiyan. Goku simply finished as if nothing interrupted his speech. Rightwards two-headed arrow, rightwards squiggle arrow. Leftwards squiggle arrow, leftwards two-headed arrow. On King Kai's planet, watching the proceedings with a shocked face was King Kai himself, something that Yamcha noticed, and out of concern he asked, is everything alright in Namek? King Kai looked at Yamcha and replied, you could always grab my shoulder and watch. Yeah, but you kind of smell. That's just my natural musk. King Kai hastily replied to Yamcha. King Kai, do you hear me? A voice telepathically asked the Kai, who looked up in surprise and replied. Oh hey Kami, how's everything coming along? I've sent of Mr. Popo to collect the Dragon Balls like you asked. Kami said to King Kai, who smiled. Good, the whole plan is coming together. I don't think you told us your plan. Yamcha said. I don't have to tell you everything, I don't have to tell you anything. And that just about sums up our time spent here. Tien said to the group while King Kai grunted an affirmative. Rightwards two-headed arrow, rightwards squiggle arrow. Leftwards squiggle arrow, leftwards two-headed arrow. Spotting what he was looking for in the distance, Gohan sighed, "At least we made it here in one piece." Entering through the door of the ship that he and Bulma arrived in, Gohan set Piccolo down and looked at him in sadness. "See, Mr. Piccolo, we're halfway home." "Well, sort of." Gohan paused before he stood up. "Just don't bleed out on me, okay?" And with that, the half Saiyan flew to find his female friend so they can get the hell out of here once his dad and Naruto beat Frieza. Rightwards two-headed arrow, rightwards squiggle arrow. Leftwards squiggle arrow, leftwards two-headed arrow. "I have to admit this is new for you monkeys." Frieza complimented to both Naruto and Goku as he got his bearings. "But, a monkey is still a monkey, and I have killed plenty in my days. Millions, literally millions." "Meh, you win some, you lose some," Naruto said with a shrug, not new to the tyrant game, having faced one known as Obito Uchiha, "but that doesn't mean that we will let you get away with the terror you've caused. So you think now that you're this so-called Super Saiyan, that you're both better than me, Lord Frieza?" Frieza goaded in his anger, waiting for a small mistake from the two. "Well, you're not. I own you both. I own your planet. I own this planet." Then Frieza had an idea and pointed to the sky. "In fact, fuck this planet." A death ball formed too fast for Naruto or Goku's liking, and before they could do anything, Frieza threw the ball straight through the core of the planet, causing a planet-scale explosion. Rightwards two-headed arrow, rightwards squiggle arrow. Leftwards squiggle arrow, leftwards two-headed arrow. "No, no, no, son of a bitch, arg." King Kai whined as he just witnessed the destruction of planet Namek. "What's wrong, King Kai?" Yamcha asked. "You dumb assholes are going to be here forever," King Kai angrily said. "K. Really funny, King Kai," Tien said, chuckling at the obvious joke, but then he saw that the Kai wasn't laughing. "Oh god, you're serious?" "I had this whole plan ready to go," King Kai explained, "but as it turns out, Frieza is a sore loser, and he just blew himself up along with the rest of the planet." Xiaosu asked, interrupting King Kai, and when he noticed the looks it was his turn to look scandalized. "What? It's what I'd do." "Yeah, only this time it worked," King Kai said, unknowingly or knowingly insulting Xiaosu. "And now Goku, Gohan, Piccolo, and everyone's dead, and I'm now stuck with you idiots for the rest of my life. Should I call you back when you're done screaming? Or is that not happening? And then there's this GU, wait, Kami." King Kai mentally called at the end of his rant, and Kami replied, "Yes, I wanted to inform you that Mr. Popo is done collecting the Dragon Balls and is now awaiting further instructions." "You're alive, single quote dot 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 single quote. But that means if you're not dead, then Piccolo's not dead. Then that also means that Namek is still standing." Rightwards two-headed arrow, rightwards squiggle arrow. Leftwards squiggle arrow, leftwards two-headed arrow. Did you miss?" Goku asked Frieza, who looked scandalized at the thought. "How could I miss?" he asked back. "Bro, I think he missed," Naruto said as he was floating next to his Super Saiyan brother. "It's funny if you think of that," Goku said. "What's funny about that? I know I hit the core," Frieza declared before looking down with a frown. "This always happens when I perform under stress. Seems to me that you couldn't just go through with blowing the three of us up," Goku slyly said. Frieza screamed in frustration. "That's not the problem, you idiot. I can breathe in space while you can't." "But space is a vacuum," Goku exclaimed, surprising Naruto a bit, seeing that he didn't know that part. "Honestly, I'd say you only have, I don't know, like 5 minutes tops," Frieza guessed. "Well then, I guess that we'll have to kill you in half the amount of time," Naruto said, getting in his ready stance with his tail unwrapping from his waist. "I would like to see you try," Frieza said before getting into his horse stance. "But first, He then proceeded to release his power to its full potential, which surprised Goku a bit but not Naruto, who knew that he was holding back and nothing seemed to change except that he was bulkier than before. Much better. Now, let's end this, shall we? And it was with an impressive speed that Goku was caught off guard with the punch to his gut, but as Naruto appeared behind Frieza with his fist back for a throw, he disappeared, causing Naruto to pause in mid-punch before he was sent away with a kick by Frieza. Naruto rose up to the sky to get back to the fight but paused in thought. There's no mistake that this planet's slowly coming to an end, so it would be best if I were to find an alternate mode of transformation for both me and Goku just in case. Naruto then made a cross sign with his hands, calling out shadow clones, but was surprised at the sudden decline of chakra when the clones appeared. That never happened before, but looking at the clones, he saw two looking at him with confusion. I was going for 20 clones, how did I get 2? No time to ponder, Naruto said. Then he ordered his clones, you two, search the planet as fast as you can for any mode of transport that both me and Goku can use to leave this place, and pop when you do. As the clones accepted the order, they flew off, leaving Naruto to now return to helping his brother with the fight with Frieza. 4 minutes 15 seconds to go. Rightwards two-headed arrow, rightwards squiggle arrow. Leftwards squiggle arrow, leftwards two-headed arrow. I'm still waiting to tell me what to tell Popo. A voice in King Kai's head drawled out, causing him to snap out of his stupor as he watched the fight. Oh Kami, good. Let me talk to him. Static boom. Asterisk. How the hell do you work with this guy? King Kai asked as he got up from the shock he received as he wanted to reach out to Mr. Popo. It's easier than you think, Kami said as he was on Earth talking to King Kai, and with a glance to Popo, he sighed at the words used. I'm so fucking high right now, Mr. Popo chanted as he was standing in front of the Dragon Balls. You all know what happens as Shenron is summoned, so I'm not going into a detailed description. You have summoned the Eternal Dragon, Shenron spoke in his ominous voice as he looked down. State your wish and, oh, it is you, my master, is it time to lay waste to this world? Shenron asked as he saw Mr. Popo, who was smiling at him with his arms folded behind his back. Give them 100 years or so, see if they can clean their mess up. Then how might I be of service, Lord Popo? Good question. Kami, what the fuck am I doing? Mr. Popo asked Kami. Good question, King Kai, what the fuck's he doing? Kami mentally called to King Kai. Back on King Kai's planet, King Kai, who was nursing his head, answered, I want you to bring back everyone Frieza and his men have killed on Namek. Mr. Popo, I heard. Mr. Popo waved off. Dragon, bring back all the worthless maggots that were killed by Frieza and his men. As you command, so it shall be. And as Shenron's red eyes glowed, the wish was granted over in Namek, where a small Namekian child immediately had a plan forming in his head. Rightwards two-headed arrow, rightwards squiggle arrow. Leftwards squiggle arrow, leftwards two-headed arrow. Grunt in Namek. Guru woke up with a startled noise and grunted out, I stopped my heart there for a minute. He then felt the chaotic weather outside. Oh God. Global warming. No. The screaming could be heard from a distance as the other Namekians were waking up from their brief death. Rightwards two-headed arrow, rightwards squiggle arrow. Leftwards squiggle arrow, leftwards two-headed arrow. Meanwhile, at a certain gravesite, a gloved hand emerged from the sand it was buried in before it placed its palm on the ground and pushed, bringing out the body of a previously dead Saiyan prince. When there's no more room in hell, Vegeta shall walk the speech was interrupted when Vegeta looked left and right. What the hell? Well, I have my clothes back, so at least that's a start, he thought as he started walking from the place he was buried. Looking left and right, he wondered, am I alive? Punch. Crap, oh thank God for this, Vegeta said as he was holding his side that he punched for confirming his theory before he noticed the weather. Well, looks like Frieza's blown this place up, gotta find my ship. Back to the fight. Punch, punch, kick, kick, and it was that sequence that forced Frieza to get in the defensive. That is until Frieza saw an opening and kicked Goku in the balls before he disappeared, but then he had to block another wave of punches and kicks that came from his brother who had everything connect before he was sent to the ground by a powerful Rasengan. It was this that Vegeta flew to. "Yeah, I'm gonna stay out of that one," he said before he saw the dragon. That however, and with a mad rush to it, he started to chant the word, "Mine," over his head. Frieza got up from the crater he was in, where he looked up again and noticed the weather was acting up. Again, God, what is with this place and its weather? He thought before floating up out of the crater he was in, growling at the face of Naruto and Goku as they smirked at what was happening. "Stop that, stop, not dying!" Frieza screamed at the two Saiyans, where Naruto just chuckled. "Make us, Rog." Frieza rushed at the two but paused as he saw the giant dragon. "The road. What is the? You, tell me what that is this instant," he ordered to Goku, who looked at the dragon in shock. "That is the dragon brought out after being summoned by the Dragon Balls." When Frieza heard the words, "Dragon Balls, summon, dragon," he smirked. "Immortality is mine." He then rushed at the dragon only to be stopped by a yellow flash that made him growl in anger as he saw the smirking face of Naruto, who had his arms crossed over his chest looking down at Frieza. "You must be really stupid if you think we're just going to let you fly to the dragon," Naruto casually said, having heard about the dragon from Bulma. "Grr," Frieza growled and flew under him, only to be met with the same resistance in the form of Goku. "Try again. Fuck you," Frieza growled, but looking up he saw what he needed, a distraction in the name of Vegeta. So the prodigal prince returns. Crap, Vegeta thought as he was identified before he noticed Naruto and Goku shift their attention to him. Then he noticed the power from Goku and smirked. "So it looks like you've finally realized the legend." Kakarot turning to Naruto, his eyebrow was raised at this as well. "What's up with your eyes?" Came with the look. Naruto shrugged. "But he's just as powerful as me and I can't wait to spar with him," Goku said. "And I see that you were brought back with the Dragon Balls." Speaking of Dragon Balls, looking left and right, Vegeta noticed something. "Hey, where's Frieza?" This question prompted wide eyes from Naruto and Goku. "Shit, dragon. Give me immortality so I can rid this world of this annoying pest and conquer the universe as Lord Frieza." Turning at the wish in fear, the three Saiyans saw that Frieza used the distraction of Vegeta's arrival to evade them and make for the dragon, and each of them rushed to Frieza, planning on killing him before the wish was granted. What was heard, however, confused them. Section: Your wish has been granted. Section: The dragon spoke in Namekian, and right before Frieza's eyes, he saw all the revived lives popping out of existence. "What? No, this isn't what I asked for," Frieza shouted. "What's going on down here?" Frieza looked down to see the Namekian brat he killed earlier smiling at him and growled in his state of anger. No, you didn't." "So what if I did?" Adend asked. "What are you going to do about it, huh?" "Come at me, bro." Frieza shot a beam at the little bastard, but he disappeared just as the beam reached him, pissing Frieza even more, and Vegeta saw this opening as an opportunity. "Hey Frieza," Vegeta called out as he charged him. "Hope you're ready to party, 'cause it's Vegeta o'clock pop." Vegeta popped out of existence before he finished his liner to Frieza and attacked him, and Frieza watched as the dragon in front of him disappeared out of existence, causing Frieza to slouch forward in shock. "What just happened?" he asked, still in his state of shock. Naruto smirked at his pathetic state. "Honestly, wherever the wish took them," he said. "Do you know where they went?" He turned to Goku as he asked, and Goku shrugged. "Don't look at me, I'm just as lost as you," Goku said. 1 minute 50 seconds till Armageddon. Meanwhile on the planet Earth. It was midday on planet Earth as her new occupants arrived in the woods, with the Namekians looking around in confusion. Looking left and right, Bulma was confused as a minute ago they were in a destroying planet, now to arrive here, where are we? She asked herself. Bulma. Gohan called out from the tree he was landing on, and she turned to see her little friend was okay. Gohan, she called as she crouched down when said preteen landed. What do you think happened? I don't know. Gohan said, confused at this development as well. We just disappeared all of a sudden. Ah, it feels good to be the king. Den thought as he looked around, smiling. Hello, who am I speaking to? A voice asked in Den's head, who was startled a bit. My name is Dend. Dend, are you the one who made the wish on the dragon? The voice asked, and Dend replied with a positive yes. How did you know my plan? What plan? Dend asked back as he looked to the sky and smiled. I just wanted to screw Frieza over. Back on Namek. Immortality. Why would anyone want that? Naruto asked Goku, who shrugged. I mean, I know a guy who was immortal. Bastard was hard to kill, especially when he had a technique that redirected every attack he received to the poor bastard trapped in a stupid ritual, but he was killed when his body was shredded to pieces, leaving only an annoying talking head that got buried alive. Wow, I'm glad I'm not immortal, because I wouldn't want that to happen to me. Goku said to his brother as he thought of that situation. Frieza meanwhile was still reeling in shock at what just happened before the shock turned to rage. Rage at being denied his wish. Rage at the entire Namekian race for causing this, and especially rage at the two bastards in front of him, and he fueled the rage in the punch he gave both Naruto and Goku and watched as they crashed in the ground below them. He raised his hands up in the air, charging a pink energy ball that was the same size as the spirit bomb. Bigger, the size increased by 5 * bigger. The size increased by 10 * bigger. The size increased by 20, now half the size of Earth's moon. Perfect. He threw the ball at Goku and Naruto, but Goku punched it out of the planet, redirecting its course completely, while Naruto whistled at the size of the ball, and if anyone were to look closely, they would have seen a strand of sweat drop down from Naruto's forehead. That was too close for comfort. Naruto thought, we have to end this now. And with that thought, Naruto dashed towards Frieza, intending on ending this little squabble once and for all. On Earth, Piccolo just woke up from the healing he received from Den, who smiled at his recovery and said, Welcome back, Nail. Where am I? Piccolo asked as he looked left and right, noticing that this was different from Namek. Can I hug? Why? No. Piccolo yelled at Den, who slouched in disappointment before he looked left and right. Gohan. Huh. Gohan turned and saw his mentor walking and rushed to him. Mr. Piccolo and Den, but I thought that. Turns out that we're all alive. Giggle. Xept Krillin. Noticing the looks he received, he quickly sobered. How unfortunate. Nail. Nihil. I think he's looking for you. Piccolo mentally told his brother, as Guru was calling for him. Piccolo recently found out who was bunking with him. How unfortunate. Do not tell him I'm here. Nail replied to Piccolo in his mind. Nihil, I can sense you. Do not make eye contact. Nail mentally shouted to Piccolo, but Gohan made an observation. You know, looking around, it seems like the only people brought back were those that Frieza and his men killed. Gohan said, that's convenient. On Namek, smash, asterisk. Frieza was sent crashing down on the earth below the fighters by Goku, who stood and watched as he pathetically stood up. I'm done. Goku suddenly said, shocking Frieza once more, who asked a simple question. What? I'm done fighting you. Goku repeated. I'm bored, you're boring me. What? Frieza demanded. Goku powered down from his Super Saiyan state and turned around from the enraged Frieza. Try not to blow up any more planets. But before he could move any further, he and Frieza heard a screeching sound, and suddenly Frieza felt a body locking his position with more force that he could muster, meaning he was trapped. Goku, you were about to make a really stupid mistake. Naruto said with his arm over his head and a blue spinning shuriken with an orb the size of the Namekian Dragon Ball in the middle of the ring. Swinging his arm, Naruto threw the technique at Frieza and his clone before he flashed and removed a shocked Goku from the technique's blast radius. As Naruto saw the soon-to-be dead body of Frieza falling from the effects of an Udama Rasenshuriken, he let go of Goku, who punched him in the jaw. Ow! What was that for? I was going to let him leave. You did not have to do that. Naruto frowned at this. Goku, think for a second. Frieza is a tyrant who takes pleasure in the torment of people around him. Naruto reasoned, causing Goku to frown. What's stopping him from destroying other planets and seeking revenge on one such as yourself? Quote. Goku had his finger scratching his chin as he thought of this, but Naruto continued, but by killing him, not only will the tortured souls be put to rest, but the entire universe would be safe from people like him. I guess when you put it that way. Good. Now come on. My clone found us 2 pods we could use to leave this place before it blows up. With a burst of ki, Naruto led Goku to where the ship was, ignoring completely the dying body of Frieza. No, come back, help me, Frieza pleaded to no one as his vision was fading away with all the cells in his body being completely destroyed. Perhaps he shouldn't have come to Namek after all.